Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Minions of the Zoo. I am your host, Johnny Hellcat, and with me today is Sanguine.
Good evening, all.
How's your day going so far?
Day's going just grand. I had to do dishes before I can start making my dinner, so I'm a little bit hungry. But other than that, day's going very well. Yourself?
Well, not too bad. Got
That's
some
good.
got some stiffness, but post-exercise stiffness, but
I was about to
it's not too
say you might
bad.
want to specify because
Uh,
that
this is
sounds
this
like
is PG
something that-
13.
Yeah.
Not that kind of not that kind of stiffness.
Not going to have to go off and see the missus
Grow up.
after stream.
Did somebody else say it?
Grow up. What?
Did somebody else say it?
Yeah, someone else said it. Yeah. Get your mind out of the gutter. Jeez. Real mature, Mrs.
See, I wasn't the only one.
How's it going, Hammer?
Hey, Hammer.
I should probably show the stream a little bit. What a day.
But yeah, my day's gone fairly well. I did my morning post of the week, or scheduling of the post for the week, and they went live before I even woke up, which is nice.
Sweet.
And like I said, just waiting on a dishwasher to finish running so I can get shit that I need in order to make my dinner tonight, because I need to be able to wash the rice before I cook it.
Now, for normal rice, I guess would be the way to put it, not the minute rice. That is something that is typically you rinse it before you cook it.
So if you're eating Japanese, Chinese, Thai, or Indonesian rice, you want to wash it before you cook it, because there's a lot of powder that gets on the rice. If you cook it without washing the powder off, it's just excess starch. You end up with very gloopy rice. For American rices, you don't wash it because most American rices are enriched rices, and what that means is that they sprinkle a powder on the rice that has additional nutrients. So if you wash your rice, then you're washing away all the enrichment. For Indian rice, and I want to say it's American rice from the south, in specific areas, you can look up the area that your rice came from, and then look up whether the area that your rice came from has high arsenic in the soil. If it has high arsenic in the soil, you cook it like fucking pasta. So you throw it in way too much water, and then you drain it after cooking it. Because if it has high arsenic, rinsing rice does absolutely nothing to reduce the arsenic content of the rice. But cooking it like pasta massively dilutes the arsenic content, reducing the amount that actually gets into your system.
Now, what do you mean by cooking it like pasta? Like, is that overcooking?
Not overcooking, but you know how when you're cooking pasta, you fill up a pot of water, then you throw in pasta, and you have way, 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 way more water than you have pasta?
Yeah.
Same thing. So
Okay.
rather than doing the perfect ratio of water to rice that you would do for like a Japanese or Thai, Viet, Chinese, Indo rice, where you want it to be, once it finishes cooking, all the water is evaporated. You want to cook it so that you have to drain your rice after you cook it, because there's still a shit ton of water. And again, the reason why you do that is it leaches the arsenic out of the rice. So you end up with rice that is healthy to eat day in, day out, rather than a rice that if you eat day in, day out for too long, you end up poisoning yourself.
Gotcha.
Because, yeah, there's certain types of rice and not certain types, but certain areas where rice is grown that has high arsenic in the soil. A good chunk of India has high arsenic in the soil, so you want to cook your rice in that fashion if it's an Indian rice. And then certain parts of the southern U.S. have that. I want to say it's Alabama or Tennessee. It's one of the southern states that is a real big rice growing state, but they have high arsenic content. A bunch of the others that are southern U.S. don't have the high arsenic content. So like I said, if you are buying American rice, check where it's grown, and then figure out whether you're cooking it like pasta or not.
Okay. And I would just like to point out that I was cleaning it and it just went off.
Say again?
I misfired my gun. Because, as I was streaming, shilling the stream, I clicked on the window, and it fired the gun. It's called trigger control. You must learn it.
But yeah, like I said, if it's enriched rice, and it's American enriched rice, that means that there's a powder on it that's intentionally there, and it's normally like magnesium, and not pure magnesium, but a magnesium compound. Some iodine, few other compounds that are normally good to have in your diet that most people don't eat enough of, especially if they have a rice-based diet. So they add those to the rice in order to make it so that if you're just eating rice, you have a much fuller dietary complement. So like vitamin A, vitamin C, they tend to be powdered, and your rice tends to be coated with that. So if you wash your rice, you rinse that out. Though if it's a C, so Southeast Asian, enriched rice, they did a special method of enrichment where they make fake grains of rice effectively. And they mix that in with the actual grains of rice. And those fake grains of rice have all of the vitamins, because when they first tried to give enriched rice to C, they
Terry.
kept on washing it, and it had absolutely no effect dietarily. But then they came up with this method of making fake grains that are resistant to just being washed out, and dietary standards spiked up massively.
Okay. Yeah, this time I used the right mouse button instead of the left mouse button.
But yeah, for Chinese, Japanese, Indo, Thai, Viet rices, wash your rice. Gets rid of the excess starch, and you end up with a lighter, fluffier, better texture to your rice.
I wonder how bad I'm going to suck at this. Oh. It's not even doing anything.
Well, did you tell it to start?
Well, I think you're supposed to go through this. and it's supposed to automatically do it.
Ah.
Which is kind of good because I probably would have been shot a few times.
I'd double check to see if the stairs lead
Oh,
to
there
the
you are.
computer upstairs. Oh, there we go.
Okay, maybe not.
Leave at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, I see. Static targets or random targets. No entrance. Oops.
I almost made a really fucked up joke.
Whoop. There we go. He's coming at me.
Make like Custer, only shoot the red men.
This is not... Oh, dang it. This is not really the most convenient weapon for...
Yeah, it's single action army. Well, I think it's supposed to be a single action army, but it is sometimes being treated like it's a double action. But it might just be that they don't have a hand, so they don't show you thumbing it back.
Come on. Oh, I missed one. Two penalty points. I got one of the hostages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I misunderstood the rules of cowboys and Indians, Terry.
I mean, we could always try it again and just kill all the white guys. Could.
Do the Spetsnaz training then? Someone tries to take hostages, fuck you, we'll kill the hostages ourselves.
What hostages?
If they're captured, they're traitors to the Russian people.
Yeah, that is a bit much.
Well, it's the right reload animation for that gun, so... That was a peacemaker, not single action army.
I am proficient, which means I suck. How much money do I have? 495. $5.95. Let's see. You know what? Let's go with the STG.
So the question is, how realistic is this game? Are there sometimes listings that you'll then have the ATF bust down your door because you sawed down the barrel a little bit too short and you didn't pay your tax for it? Also, why does that have an orange tip?
I think it's because it's rusted.
Or did someone try to make it look like it's an airsoft?
Alright, there we go. You can remove the bushings here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't like how it's just zooming in on it like it's...
Making it difficult to actually see what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely rusted.
That it was. Which, I'm impressed that you were able to just unscrew it without any issue when it was that fucking rusted.
Yeah, that thing would need a breaker bar at least. And it seems like there's just pegs holding all this stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that does not seem right at all.
When you have to flip it over and unscrew it from the wrong fucking side.
Yeah, that's kind of...
A special kind of special.
I know you're supposed to be able to, like... try to make it look at least somewhat simulated. Because that's...
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, that's where the screw is. Let's watch the screw come out. Like, that's different than here. Let me just be on the other side of the gun where the other screw is. It doesn't make any sense.
Though I do definitely understand for gameplay loop doing that. Which, did you ever do PC Builder?
No.
So PC Builder, I think, did a really good job of solving the gameplay loop versus getting you all the info that you need in order to actually do what the fuck you're trying to do. Because what they did was they made it so that, yeah, when you first start out, you're unscrewing everything. So you have to click on the screw, you have to wait until it unscrews, and you have to click and hold as it's unscrewing.
Yeah. Like we do with this one.
Yep. And then at the end, or at a certain point in the game, you get a few things for your shop that effectively auto unscrew shit for you. So you're no longer having to sit there and wait to undo all of the screws. And that one, you had to be angled just right to hit some of the screws, so you wouldn't really be able to unscrew from the inside like you did on that one part.
Yeah.
But that having it at the end where, yep, you have a thing that probably doesn't exist, or rather, definitely doesn't exist, that undoes screws for you. So you don't have to go around and dick around with it when you're at the point where you're going, I just want to slap parts together and see what the benchmark.
All right.
And Terry will assume that STG stands for St. George and that you're going to be using the gun to kill dragons.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
That just reminded me of something that I wish was a thing when it came to the Phasmo-style games. I wish there was a Phasmo-style game where it was 2 rounds. Round 1, it's effectively the normal Phasmo loop. So you go in, you figure out what the fuck is actually there.
Yeah.
Round 2 is you're the second team. First team just goes in, they figure out whatever the fuck is there. Second team, based on what the first team figures out, equips to handle whatever thing the first team found. So, and it would have a bunch of different types of mythological big bads, so like werewolves, vampires, shit like that, the Fae.
Yeah.
So, if in round 1 you thought, oh, this is clearly a werewolf, round 2 you'd come back with Silver, ready to handle the werewolf. But then if you fucked up round 1 and it was a Fae, you would have to find something that was cold iron on the map in order to deal with the Fae, or you just fucking die. I wish there was a game that did that, because then that would be really fucking interesting. It would give you an incentive to actually go through and make sure that you're 100% correct before you go, yep, it's this.
Good night, honey. Where the hell? I know there's a part that needs to come out. Oh, it's right there. Okay. Never mind.
So it'd be kind of like a crossover of, what is it, The Hunt? The Hunt's the one where you're gunslingers going after various monsters, right?
I don't know.
want to say it's called The Hunt. There's another game that, like I said, you're effectively Old West gunslingers and hunters going after various mythological creatures that are plaguing an area. So it'd be kind of like a combination of Phasmo and then The Hunt. And Terry wants to know, does the game have buttons that highlight things for you to see them if you don't know where the fuck they are?
There is, but I don't remember what it is.
Fair enough.
But it doesn't make it impossible to try and find it. I mean, I think the last round when I was still trying to figure some of the stuff out, but it didn't take long.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of mouse over every part, see if anything turns green on you.
Pretty much. And I think we have 6 parts left. Three. 2. 1. Front sight blade. Where is the... Right there. Alright, so it's broken. The muzzle, lower stock, upper stock. That shit's dirty, and that shit's good. Alright. Okay, leave that for now. Yeah, that just makes me wonder if it is like almost like how it should go. Which, I mean, if you're teaching people how to put guns together.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's a guy down in Dillon who, because you can't sell sniper rifles, but you can sell the parts to it.
Has class assemblies.
Yeah, there's he sells the pieces, and then he sells the instructions on how to put it together.
Nice.
All within federal guidelines.
Just the image of, here's your sniper kit, and now if you enter this room, we can walk you through the full construction.
Well, they can't construct it for you.
They can't construct it for you, but they can construct one while you're watching them and constructing with them.
Yeah.
It's just both of you are playing with your adult Legos.
Pretty much. So let's see. Muzzle. Add. Lower stock and upper stock. Muzzle. You are right there.
These games always seem very chill, and some of them look really interesting. Some of them, they just look boring as shit. This is one of the ones that looks fairly interesting.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's just kind of like a low pressure, like you're not really putting too much into the game.
Mm-hmm. And this is one that feels like you can actually learn something from it, which is the ones that I like are the ones that it feels like you can learn from it. There's one of them, I'm trying to remember what the hell it is, but effectively you're building models and you're carving models. But you reach a certain point in it, and it's like, yeah, your character's carving something out of wood. That's not teaching you how to carve something out of wood, because you're just clicking in certain locations and dragging in those locations, which that isn't actually teaching you how to carve it. So it was a... Okay, whereas this one, you're learning about the parts, you're learning about shit like that, so it makes sense. Another good one is there's Home Brewer Sim.
Well, that's like the PC Builder Sim you talked about. Like, you know, it actually teaches you what equipment goes together.
Yep. And you can, if you have all the DLC, because as more shit came out, more DLC came out, it would allow you to kind of test build a rig in the game before you build it IRL. So it ended up being sort of a way to see if shit was actually compatible.
Yeah.
And like I said, with the Home Brewer Sim, that one, it teaches you about different malts and different grains and different yeasts. It gives you the taste profiles of each of them, so that if you decide to actually get into home brewing, you can take that and go, oh, I want a beer that tastes like this. Let me find this type of yeast, this type of grain, this type of this. And it teaches you how to mix and match shit.
I keep telling my friends that we should take up Shining. But they're
Think of
like,
what?
Shining?
Ah.
Not The Shining, but Moon Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is legal in Montana.
As long as you don't sell.
To have, it's I think it's up to 5 gallons for personal use.
Yep.
And if I wanted to be like a legit business person, you can actually get a license to make corn
mash.
Well, it's essentially fuel for tractors.
Oh, the corn ethanol.
Yeah. You can make it and sell it to farmers.
Yep.
Reassemble.
And if you got really good at it, then you could always put in for, hey, I'd like a brewing license.
Well,
Or distiller's license, rather.
in this state, good luck.
Yeah, they're difficult to get, but it's not impossible to get. I do find it funny, though, that House Flipper is like 50% IKEA simulator.
Yeah. Where the hell did that go?
Tyr is again claiming that he was cheated out of a win rather than just admitting that he lost fair and square.
That's what happens when you fight with water types.
So what card game are you guys talking about? Were you playing Magic together? I don't think I've ever heard of Spectromancer. Oh, okay.
Huh. Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
So it's is this the right one? Game from the late aughts, and where was it made? Because it has a Russian name, which is strange. Was it a Russian game? But it looks like it was made in the 90s. That is the one that I pulled up and was looking at.
I think I've heard of it, but yeah, I've never played it.
The artwork kind of reminds me of... Did you ever play Lords of Magic?
No.
So Lords of Magic was a extremely generic turn-based strategy game that was really fucking fun and charming in how generic it was. It was one of those, every land has its own special type of magic, so you can be from the Earth Kingdom, you can be from the Fire Kingdom, which are a bunch of barbarians, you can be from wind, water, life, death, ice, so on and so forth.
So, Avatar.
Avatar with more elements and mythological creatures mixed into the rosters. So each one would have their primary race, like the Order race was humans, were their primary race. The Earth were dwarves. Fire were giants. Ice were also giants. They weren't very creative in that. The life was elves. But it kind of reminds me of Lords of Magic artwork for the card game. But it was a game that I remember playing a shit ton when I was little. And the thing was that depending on which group you chose, you could ally with and absorb a bunch of the other nations. So if you were Earth, you could ally with everyone except for Death and Wind, or rather Air. If you were Life, you could ally with everyone except for Death. Death could subjugate everyone except for Life. And the way that you would subjugate a group is you would conquer their, or you'd liberate their temple before they were able to liberate their temple. Every nation had their own temple. You could find little settlements that you could colonize.
I think we have not much left to put together.
But probably my favorite aspect of it was every area had their own library tower that you had to actually learn the magic of whatever kingdom you were using. And you could devote your magicians to learn the magic. And you'd pick what path of the magic schools you actually wanted to learn. So you didn't have to learn everything, you could pick and choose. Wait, they're remaking Lords of Magic? How did I not hear about that?
Let's see if we can... hit a decent amount of targets here. Oop. Shooting into the ground. Now let's try aiming versus hip fire. So let's try that here. All right, and the testimony of any good attempt. What's the farthest we can go? 300 meters.
I forgot that Lords of Magic was a rework of Lords of the Realm.
I hit one target, but the other one went flying. Not bad. Iron
So yeah,
sights.
where did you see that they were remaking it, Tyr? Because if they are, I'll definitely
Iron sights
wanna
aren't
get it.
terrible. And for good measure, turn the safety on before we leave.
Yeah, it was one of those games that the premise was extremely generic, but the execution was fantastic. At least fantastic for the time. Now it kind of looks like an episode of Reboot when you look at the cutscenes.
I missed.
Let me know what you think of it, Chick. Terry, because it is definitely an old game, so it's a bit jank, but I had a hell of a lot of fun playing it when I was little.
Not terrible.
This time you didn't shoot any
56.54.
of the white men.
Nope, we did good this time around.
Ah, okay. Just a Steam port. I know it was on GOG, and now it's on Steam as well. And it had the fun thing with replay where once you beat the campaign once, you're able to go back and play as the villain of the story.
Okay, I can shoot a watermelon, but I can't shoot an apple.
Strange. Oh, and Terry, just to save you a bit of a headache, when you're picking your first lord, almost never choose thief. Thieves in that just fucking die horrendously. At least early on, they just die horrendously. The one exception is, I want to say it's Air. Their thief is a fucking flying little bastard. So he's able to get through things and actually survive fights.
Alright, back to the workshop.
Yeah, like I said, I remember playing through that game way too much when I was little.
Yeah, I think I bought this on a Steam sale. So.
Yeah, this looks like one of the good sim games.
All right. I don't think I can afford that quite yet. That's a nice ball pup rifle.
Mm-hmm.
My wife's cousin has it's the Springfield Hellion.
Mm-hmm.
And that, oh man, that was a smooth shot. I like it.
Oh, damn, an Arasaka?
Yeah.
Your father was looting corpses, buddy.
My dad has that in Arasaka.
Yep.
I don't remember where he got it from, but yeah, he's had it for a while.
Someone else looting corpses. Grandfather end up fighting in the war.
I think so.
Pacific Theater.
Possibly. I don't really know much about my stepdad's side of the family.
It was a trophy. It's kind of like if men of a certain age in America have samurai swords that look a little bit used. Yeah, they're war trophies.
Okay, where? Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. No. Yeah, the gun that he has, because yeah, I don't know too much about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know that it's got a nice, well, even for it being as old as it is, the wood's still nice on it.
Mm-hmm. I know it makes guns so much heavier, but I do love the look of wood furniture on a firearm. But yeah, the wood furniture just looks absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. I wonder how many of these parts actually just do screw together.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just seems... I mean, rather than having just everything screw into it, I guess that would make it make more sense. So I was at the gym today,
Mm-hmm.
and we were running pretty hard. So it's like, it's hard to tell if it's like a me thing, or
Mm-hmm.
if it's just the fact that we're working out. But I'm not going to say I had chest pains, but I was feeling it in my chest. Like, it was very much, like, not like heart attack type chest pains. Just, I worked a little bit harder than I'm used to.
I was going to say, if it was pressure, one of the things that can happen that feels like a fucking heart attack when it is going on. So it freaks out a lot of people. Or is when you crack your sternum. But normally, in order to crack your sternum, you have to have been sedentary for too long. And when you crack your sternum, that feels like a heart attack. It isn't a heart attack, but it sure as fuck feels like one.
So is Tabletop Simulator on sale right now?
Let me check.
Because I know for a while, Del and I were talking about trying to get people together for a poker night.
It is not on sale. It's still $20 for single one, or $60 if you buy the 4-pack.
Is that Fanatical or Humble or Indie?
That's Steam.
Well, I meant Tyr's comment.
Oh.
Kingwin, huh? Actually, I have found that there is a website called Is There Any Deal? Which I found because of Game Ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's a nice site. There's a couple games I've actually bought because I found it on there. Scope. Where's the scope? There is no scope. Four.
Yeah, a lot of these sim games have gotten really popular recently with streamers. Like TCG has become big.
Yeah. I know your boy Pat's been playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a couple people I've seen playing that too. I think Satsu plays it.
Mm-hmm. And it's because they're really good games to play and be able to talk while playing.
Hmm. Trigger guard, butt plate. Oh, what? Eh. Really? Ejector and ejector cover.
So I'm just fell into a rabbit hole of looking at different sims that are currently out. There's one that I can only describe as a Wonka sim.
Interesting.
It's Chocolate Factory.
Is it?
It's
is it set in Scotland?
You're running a steampunk chocolate factory. And building automata in order to help you run your factory. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm not answering your emails, Terry. So let's see here. Firing pin. So let's go. Arasaka. Firing pin spring. So back to the shop.
There's also an airport X-ray simulator now.
Nice. There you go, Tyr. You got a job practice.
There's one major problem that I'm seeing. In none of the airport X-ray simulator clips or anything like that do I see them just absolutely winging suitcases across the entire fucking room. So this must be based in a different country, not the US.
I'm talking like Allahu Akbar simulator.
Well, you do find bombs in it, apparently.
Huh. Interesting.
Bombs, guns, a shit ton of interesting prohibited items. No, in the chocolate simulator, you run a factory of automata. So, well, technically they're robot slaves, but you don't get the orange sort.
Ah. Well, Peter Dinklage took the midgets out of there too, huh?
Yeah.
That man must be stopped.
Clearly what needs to happen is there needs to be a Tiptoes 2 where Dinklage is recast.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why, but it'd be hilarious to see a Tiptoes 2 where Dinklage's character is played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. What's your army of choice, Tyr? And would you want to try to co-op it, or would you want to try to fuck with each other? I like how this is a combo pack of simulators. Priest and Thief Simulator.
Nice. Yeah, this is when I wish listed it. This came with Thief Simulator.
Mm-hmm. And of course, there's also the horny side of things, because now there's a dominatrix simulator.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised.
Especially when you find out that it has VR support.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised.
Yeah.
So my coworker and I, we had our annual evals this week, and we were told, despite all of our happenings on around the office, we were told that our sense of humor is appreciated.
Okay.
And he goes, my coworker who I was in training with, so we've been, in the same boat, since we got there. And he just goes, he looks at me and goes, this is just a green light for us to screw around more. And I go, and I will not turn that away.
Seize it by the horns.
Exactly. But they're saying that because the new hires, they seem to be a little bit more stressed than normal. So our banter has been approved for the fact that it helps de-escalate things. Because our boss has apparently been told that we are funny.
Nice.
And it's funny. What's really funny is we've been currently trained in pharmacy calls, and the pharmacy associates are trained in medical, so that it stops transfers, which is all well and good until they still don't, warm transfer. They still cold transfer these callers.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're already pissed off, the last thing you want is someone who's just dropped in your lap that's frustrated with what's going on. And then you have to have them repeat all their information again.
Oh, yeah. Because no one fucking gave you the info when they took it down the first time, if they even took it down. I swear sometimes they don't even fucking know.
Yeah, sometimes, no. There is nothing that irritates me more than cold transfers.
Mm-hmm.
And I have voiced this from the rooftops. But, so, we're taking these calls, and me and my coworker just are like, he's like, did I ever mention how much I abhor pharmacy calls? And I react with a pointing emoji. Yes. Actually, Icarus is pretty good. It's I thought it was going to be kind of a 7 Days to Die clone. And it kind of is. I guess it's kind of like Ark and whatnot. But yeah, it's pretty good. Instead of like zombies, you're essentially mining this planet. You're terraforming a planet. And it's player versus environment. My first playthrough, I walked out of my shuttle, and within 5 minutes I was attacked by wolves.
Nice.
I'm like, I don't think I belong here.
Always a good start.
And then I picked. I'm like, okay, I'll just pick whatever's here. I'll just give me a good measure as to what's going on. And yeah, it was like deer in headlights. Just the moment you step out. Oh, look, there's a death elk. Come to find out, it's a horse. But it's a horse with like giant fangs. So not like a normal horse. Not normal in the slightest. So I called it the death elk just because, well, looks like a giant elk with no horns.
I'm trying to remember the name. It's Mares of Diamantis, I want to say.
Oh, and
The man-eating horses.
I'm not sure. But I do know that I had a buddy who he's the one who initially talked me into getting the game. Well, he tried to get me. I didn't buy it based on him alone. Moonshock actually convinced me because I saw him playing it on when he was on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sitting around and I'm like, I was waiting for my forge to be built.
Mm-hmm.
And I look around and like all of a sudden there's a color in the horizon. And I go, okay. And I message my buddy. I'm like, is this supposed to be a thing? And he goes, I have never seen that before, ever. Like, oh, that's neat. I have no idea what the hell's going on. So without noticing, because Steam will tell you if your friends start like logging the games and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I think it was like an hour and a half later, you hear the sound of a shuttle dropping. And I go, well, what the fuck's this? Like some sort of event? And all of a sudden, and it's my buddy. Because it's a open... You can set it to where it's like it's Steam friends only, or it's private. So you don't have anyone. You're just playing by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have it like Steam friends only because I don't know many people who actually have the game. And I'm like, okay, sure. I'll take that for what it is. And I just hear the shuttle, and then he just runs up and like hides in the bush. But I can see his name, so it's not like I don't know it's not him. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you see name tags, it becomes hard not to notice someone.
ooh, almost a bullseye. That's what we in the business call close enough. Bullseye.
So there's a black simulator, by the way.
What?
It's just called Black Simulator.
Nice. Can I accurately hit? Let's see how close in the... Can I hit the black ring? Well, there's the black ring. Can I hit 8 or 9? I'm not really doing well on this one.
I do love how there's the completely legit simulators, and then there's just absolute piss take simulators.
Yeah. Hip fire.
Oh, thank God, this one's about animals. One of the simulators was just named Predator Simulator.
Well, that could have been bad.
Yeah. Like I said, oh good God, thankfully it's just about animals.
Proficient.
So how do you get above proficient?
I have no idea. Mauser. And no thank you.
Too rich for your blood?
Very much. Especially since where it stalled at was like I only had $25 to go.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Clearly I'm not getting that there. But I need to go get some foods
Copy
and then
that.
go to bed. So I think we will just call that there. Will it be yourself
It
tomorrow?
will be me tomorrow.
All right. And with that, the zoo is closed.
Have a good night, all.
Have a good night.